Hey, what's up, y'all? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Balance Podcast. Again, I just urge you to please retweet anything I post on my podcast account, the_balance_pod on Twitter or Instagram. Tell your friends. In general, retweet whenever I post an episode. Just anything you can do to help get the word out and help me just spread word about the show and just help me live my dream and take it to higher heights. So, to all of you who already do that, thank you so much. And we'll go ahead and get started. So, I wanted to switch today's episode up a little bit. So, I always, or at least I try to, have a flashback song of the day, but it's more like three flashback songs of the day at the end of each episode. I wanted to switch it up a little bit. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read off some lyrics and I want to see if you all can guess what song I'm referencing. So that'll be your throwback, but also kind of like a trivia, which I think could be cool. So we're going to do 4 songs in today's episode. The first 2 we'll do now, and then the last 2 we'll do at the end of the show. So make sure you're tuned in through the whole show so you can get your flashback songs and then guess and see if you still remember the lyrics. Okay, so here we go with the first song. Now she's my ride or die, it's us against the world. You know we both hustling, so hustling is our world. Same song, more lyrics. I pause. I'm pausing because I do not want to say the name of the person because I might give away the song. So I pause. Take this unlawful lady to have and to hold into the task force role. To hug her every corner till I get ash from the cold. Or until I've amassed a fortune, too much cash for me to fold. The last part of the song, we're going to reference one line. Nothing's more attractive than a heavy praying woman. So, you had 3 different lyrics from 3 different parts of the song. Do you know what song it is? I will reveal it on Twitter maybe on Thursday after people have had a chance to listen to the episode a little bit more. So that was song 1. Feel free to replay and restart to see if you can figure out, because I read it slow, so hopefully you grasp it. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next song. And I'm going to name just a few lyrics. I count you as a privilege. This love is so ideal. I'm honored to be in it. I know you feel the same. I see it every day. In all the things you do and all the things you say. You are my rock. Baby, you're the truth. You are my rock. I love to rock with you. So, those are your first 2 songs. Mull it over during the podcast while you're also listening to the other content. And then tell me on Twitter or Instagram, what have you, whichever you love to use more. I'm active on both. What song is playing? So, moving into our celeb news. So, there's a lot of music being dropped recently, and the 3 projects I've listened to is Ella Mai's self-titled debut, Usher's new album A, and Trina's album Blue Magic. So I'll start with Trina because Trina gave you what Trina does, and the other albums I kind of rate with the grade, but it's a little different here because Trina always gonna give you what Trina is, and that's what I love about her. She came to do what she does, and she does what she does well. So on the album, I like Bad Bitch Anthem. Like, I think it's cute. I also like her song Redemption, which is kind of interesting because it reminds me of Here We Go Again from her album, I think called The Glamorous Life, that she did with Kelly Rowland. The song is a classic. I also have the album, actually, like the CD physical copy of it. And it also has a song called Don't Trip, Lil Wayne on there. That one didn't do like all of that on the charts, but it's still a banger. And I still remember all the words. And I still get hyped when I play it. Like, I played it at work today. So yeah, so those are just my little opinions about her album. We'll go with Ella Mai next. And so I give her debut a C+. And if I'm feeling generous, I'll give her a B-. I thought it was cute. I think it showcased a little bit of her vocals. It didn't strike me as this amazing thing. Like, I just feel like she's just way overhyped. Y'all know how I feel about Boot Up, but I did like Trip. But I just feel like she's just an overhyped artist. I will say that I did like two songs that stand out to me. Shot Clock is my absolute fave, and Everything with John Legend is pretty dope too. And I like the beat switch up on Cheap Shot. But I will say, and I think other people have said it, that song with Chris Brown, She Could Have Left Somewhere. Like, if you're going to do a song with a person who is as messed up as Chris Brown, it needs to at least be a banger. But it wasn't. So then we move on to Usher. And Usher, I'll give, out of history and love and respect for the man who gave us 8701 and Confessions, I will give him a D plus. And the man who gave us, You Make Me Wanna and all those classics, I will give him a D plus. But A, which is the name of the album, was just terrible. There was one song I liked, which is "Say What You Want," and that's because it gave me elements of the Usher that we know and love. And I get that you feel the pressure to kind of indulge in what's popping today to be relevant and to make money. Because I mean, like J. Cole said, right now that's popping and it's making money. But at the end of the day, your long term fans, we want to hear that old Usher, and it can sell. It can, and it's definitely gonna do better than what you're doing now. So stick to what you know and who you are. And I guess I get it because you see Beyonce, like she's over here taking that sound, like ape shit, that Migos sound, but you know she's kind of had records similar to that a little bit throughout her history, but that's not Usher. So Usher needs to be Usher, and he'll be fine. There was also a song called "You Decide," which on the lowest of low keys was okay. So yeah, that's just kind of my wrap and my review on those albums. So then Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande, I don't know if that's how you pronounce her last name because she was on a list of people like celebs that you say their name wrong. Like Chrissy Teigen was on there. Her name is apparently not Chrissy Teigen, it's Chrissy Teigen. But I don't like that, and she's problematic a little bit too. So I'm not too concerned about how to pronounce her last name. But anyways, so Pete Davidson and Ariana, they broke up, and it's kind of like who didn't see it coming. It was all so rushed, and I feel like Mac Miller's death just really made her see like, yo, like this, I don't have that type of love and connection with this man. So who am like, why am I marrying him? I just feel like it was just kind of a wake up call, and it's a sad wake up call to get. But and the young lady, she's 25, my age. She's been through a lot. I feel bad for her. Like she just needs to be free and heal and just kind of live a life, you know? So yeah. Then there's this whole, I think it's called Rose for You or something like that. Like Rose and then Ivy or whatever in Roman numerals. Or four in Roman numerals, sorry. So Rose for You. I was thinking about her daughter. Whatever. So people think that it's Beyonce and that she's gonna have either a joint project with Kelly or just in general some new music coming out. It followed Nicki Minaj and Kelly and Beyonce, and it followed Tidal, and I heard that Tidal might have followed it back. Beyonce is the queen of playing games. She posted pictures with lemons all this time. We just thought like she liked lemons. But no, she was talking about Lemonade, the album she was gonna drop, and she had Ivy Park written on the drummers things for the Super Bowl performance she had in 2016 in February, which, by the way, people want to say, you know, the difference between Rihanna and Beyonce is that Rihanna declined the Super Bowl. Beyonce did a Super Bowl before Colin Kaepernick started kneeling, so it's important to have that timeline when you try and make points. And I don't know why everybody try to come for the queen. She just minds her business, like, but whatever. But back to the topic. She's the queen of secrets and puzzles, so I don't know. It could be, but I don't feel like she's just gonna do it so close to the Everything Is Love kind of thing. But I could see her doing another joint project, maybe with Kelly or whatever, because there's just the reuniting that she's doing with everybody, and she just seems in such a healing and collaborative and unified space. So it could happen. So Brother Nature on Twitter, who I don't know if everybody knows, but they should. So he loves to play with animals. Like he feeds Canelo the deer. He swims with tigers or takes pictures with tigers. He swims in the ocean. All these things. He's a nature boy. Hence Brother Nature. So some person on Twitter like found like his old tweets, and one of them was like Hell Hitler with a swastika. One is like I hate coons. One is like white power, all these different things, and he made light and joked about Rihanna and the assault from Chris Brown and stuff like that. And it's all very problematic behavior, but given that he is 20 years old and this was 6 years ago, don't know if the birthday matches or whatever, but he was at least just 14ish, possibly 13. And this is why I talk about cancel culture, because y'all are so selective with who y'all want to come for. Like, Kanye West still shouldn't be a thing. Mental health aside, he still shouldn't be a thing. Chris Brown shouldn't still be a thing. Like, these people are perpetuating great harms to the community and to women and all these different things. And y'all still let them ride because you like their music or you cape for Bill Cosby or whatever, what have you. But y'all, this man, like, 20 years old, barely a man, just got out of his teens, and y'all want to come for him. Like, granted, like, everything he says is problematic, but who is born woke? Like, nobody. Like, I tweeted on Twitter in 2011, like, I tweeted some real respectability politics, patriarchy stuff about, oh, if you shouldn't be showing your body. If you do, you're a hoe, and you deserve to be treated like a hoe. Like, I tweeted such problematic, stupid things that I cringe at now that absolutely do not reflect the woman that I am now at 25. Now it's 2011. So what's that, 7 years? So I was like maybe not too much older than him when I tweeted that. I don't do math well, so I was like 16, I don't know, whatever, 17, whatever. And, so it's just important to put that in perspective. I'm sure all of you at some point said some stuff that you cringe at and you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is just, wow, like, I can't believe I used to believe that. So it's like, you need to have grace. Extend people grace. You want God to give you grace, extend it to others. And I think he was being a troll. And what he said was wrong, but it's also about how people act now and how they approach it. He gave a genuine apology, and that's what matters. Not like Doja Cat, who some of y'all still roll with. And her apology was like, yeah, I said faggot like 1,500 times. I'm still going to say faggot. I don't think anything's wrong with saying faggot. That's not a real apology. That's not something that you forgive for. So she's still problematic in my book, and she's canceled in my book. And the Moose song was stupid. Sorry, putting it out there was stupid. So you just kind of have to think about all of these things and weigh them. For me, he's not canceled. I was never a huge Brother Nature fan, but he's not canceled for me because he was young and stupid, and he shouldn't have said any of that. And he was probably old enough a little bit to grasp some of the wrongs with stuff, but again, stupidity. And young men, and I wouldn't even say young men, even grown men in general, aren't held to the same standards, to this level of maturity that we're held to. So many don't realize the error of their ways or their thinking or their actions because they aren't liable to be held accountable. Like, accountability is missing and things like that because of patriarchy itself. So again, I'm lending grace to him, and I feel like other people should too. And animals have a way of knowing things, and if animals still rock with him, like, he has to be okay. Like, my dog be knowing, like, animals know. So I'm gonna side with the animals on this one. So moving forward in celeb news, I don't know how many of y'all watch Teen Mom or you ever watched 16 and Pregnant. But if you watch 16 and Pregnant, if you do watch Teen Mom too, then you probably know Janelle Evans, who's a hot mess. And I do not like her with every fiber of my being. I cannot stand her, and I think she's a disgusting piece of shit. But even a disgusting piece of shit on the level that she is doesn't deserve to be abused. And she called 911, and she alleged that her husband David was assaulting her, and that it was a scary 911 call. If you haven't heard it, you can listen to it on TMZ or the Ashley Reality Roundup, which I believe was the first to report the news. And you can hear, she's like, I feel like he cracked my collarbone or whatever. And she sounded really scared. She sounded like she was in pain. But like a typical domestic violence victim, she's making excuses and she's changing the story now. And I feel bad for her, but I also feel bad for the 4 kids in that house. Jade, she doesn't have primary custody of. Her mother Barbara does. There's the Marissa, which is David's daughter in the house, who got pulled out of school and is not being homeschooled, but people who just have a high school diploma. And then you have the little baby Inslee, who Janelle tested positive for THC in her and baby system at the time of birth. So that's just already tell you that stuff is off the craziness. Kaiser, who MTV has pretty much already documented his abuse, that David hits him, and that's not his biological child, just like Jason's biological child. And then Kaiser himself told his father Nathan that David abuses him, and MTV, they're like, oh, we can't do anything, and CPS isn't doing a good job in North Carolina, and they made them return custody back to Janelle, even though these are very serious and probably likely true allegations going on. So I just pray that she can get out of it. But he's a racist and homophobic person. Like, he posted a meme about shooting black people who come on the land, and he posted about he's against transgender people, which I'll get into later. And he's, all this stuff, and he just thinks of them as like scum of the earth and a result of bad parenting and mental health and all these different things. Such craziness. So he's a horrible person, and he's like a Second Amendment person, and he has all these guns on the property, and I have no doubt that he threatens to kill her and all the kids if she threatens to leave him. That's his source of income. He doesn't have a job. He lives off her MTV money. So it's just so many factors involved. So I just hope and pray that she gathers the strength to leave him, and that she's able to leave him successfully without any more harm coming to her or the kids. Domestic violence isn't a joke. And again, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In the last episode, I talked a little bit about the stats and figures around domestic violence. And I guess it's important for you guys to go back and listen, just for that informative aspect. And if you're a victim of domestic violence, a quick Google can give you the number of who to reach out to, the hotline, everything like that. Don't have it memorized off the top of my head, but it's worth it. And I know the most dangerous part of leaving is the leaving itself. That's the scariest part and the most dangerous part, because a lot of them, that's when the violence really reaches its peak, when you try to leave. But there's hope. You can do it. There's resources. And just my prayers and love go out to everyone suffering, and even Janelle, but definitely for the kids. And I hope things change. But moving on, talking about kids and horrible people, Rae Carruth, he was released after serving about 2 decades in prison. And as you recall, he was in, I believe, the NFL. And he basically hired someone to kill his pregnant girlfriend. And she died, and then the baby lived, but it's severely, the baby is now older, but severely disabled because of that attack. He wants to have a relationship with the child, which I feel like he shouldn't. He is a real piece of shit. Not Janelle level, and she's a very high level piece of shit, but he's on some way other shit to try to murder an unborn child because you don't want to live the father lifestyle. You don't get to be a father when you pick and choose. When you plant that seed, that's when you made your choice then. You could have done something else. But at the end of the day, you made that choice to have sex with someone knowing that no method is foolproof. When you plant a seed, you need to be there and support your kids. You don't, he can't pick to be a father now. You almost led to this child's death. You don't have the right to go near the child or adult, whatever. You know what I mean. He doesn't. And I think it just shows the level of audacity and narcissism in him that he even thinks that he has the right to. I don't care if that's his flesh and blood. It doesn't matter. He didn't care when he tried to kill them. So he doesn't need to have anything to do with them now. Point blank, period. And I'm not channeling City Girls because I don't even listen to their music, and I find the overrating of just hearing the word period and the phrase period being associated with them and the overuse of it now. But, back on topic, again, Rae Carruth should not go near that child. Have no relationship. You're a horrible human being. You should still be in prison. And, but hey, this is a justice system we live in. But, prayers for that family, that child that was harmed for no reason than just the fact that it was going to be in existence, So that's my little opinion on that. So then, as I mentioned, I want to talk about transgender individuals in the United States a little bit. And the reason for that is because Donald Trump is basically trying to erase their existence. He's trying to take the word and the identity away and make it so they cannot identify as that. And it's just every day he just proves it's like he takes the challenge, and I've said it time and time again. He's like, okay, it's a new day. How can I be more shitty of a person? How can I ruin more lives? Like, they don't have anything to do with you. They're just trying to live their lives their truth. You don't have to understand it. Because do I 100% understand it? No, but I'm a cisgender person. I don't get it. And I'm glad I don't have that internal struggle with what my genitals or what society says I am versus what I feel inside. I'm glad I don't have to have that struggle or that fight and to go through all the therapy and procedures and stuff to feel that way. I'm glad. But again, like, I don't understand it, and it's not for me to understand. It's not for me to tolerate anybody. Who am I to tolerate someone? Like, that's narcissism. That, like, you're nobody special to tolerate or accept anyone. I let people rock. It has nothing to do with me. It's not harmful to anyone. So I have no problem with it. If it's not harming me or the greater society at large, then there's no issue. Let people rock. Let people do them. And it's not like he's a religious, God-fearing man. So all of it just rings so hollow. And he's just a disgusting human being. And he always will be. And let me stop for Secret Service knock on my door. But yeah, so that's all I'm going to say on that. And I just really hope that the backlash is so great and that he does not succeed in what he's doing. But this is again why it's so important to vote in these midterms. You know, you have the election coming up in maybe 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, whatever. You have early voting going on. Please go out and vote, especially in Georgia. Do not let Brian Kemp be our governor. It would be horrific and a setback. So, moving on to sort of more serious topics, I was just reading an article and I just want to briefly read something that I saw in there that was very startling. So, Brazil, which has a very, very high black population, a black person is murdered in Brazil every 23 minutes. And the article was talking about what's startling about the statistic and Brazil's record high murder rate in general is that it is all too often the Brazilian police responsible for killing a generation of black mothers, fathers, future doctors, promising artists and composers, and even those who aren't necessarily promising in the respectability politics of the sense, and rising politicians like Marielle Franco. And I mentioned her, I don't know, it was several episodes back at this point, but I did mention her because she was killed by the police and she was trying to do great work. Like, her death was state sanctioned. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because it's a very serious human rights atrocity and violation in South America. Like, this is genocide. And it's just sad that here we are now. I just can't. Like, Rio, their police have killed 8,000 people in the past decade, and 75% of them were black men. And so it took the U.S. 30 years to kill the same amount of people. So to put that in perspective, like, it's a very, very serious problem. And we need to talk about it. And I've kind of strayed from it, but part of my original focus when I created my podcast was to not just talk about black issues in America, but also around the globe. And so I wanted to get back to that, and I hope I did. Also, speaking of black issues in America, I'm not going to get too much into it because for the sake of my mental health, I cannot. But it was a viral video of Florida police officers assaulting brutally a 14-year-old black girl for no other reason than she was allegedly talking back to them. And anything, it seems, can warrant violence against us. Our lives don't matter, young or old. Young people aren't afforded the same innocence. And I mean, we can't say it enough. And it's just unfortunate. And again, this is why we need to put people in place who can actually do stuff and support your friends who are trying to make change in this world in whatever way they're doing it. Just, it's important to help build people up, help lift the right people up in this world and dismantle the wrong people. And so then my last little bit before we go back to the trivia for the lyrics is Tiffany Haddish. And I want to bring her up because, people hate on her all the time. And maybe she does play the same role over and over again, but so does Adam Sandler, so does The Rock, so does Kevin Hart, so do many other people out there. And I mean, Terrence Howard, like, his role on Empire is basically like Hustle and Flow role. Like, people do that all the time. They get typecast, or have you, or they go to what they know. And, so it's like, I don't understand why people hate her so bad. It's like everybody just wants people to stay the underdog. You can't get too popular. You can't do too well. People got a problem with that. Just like when Cardi, like when she was the funny hoe, never gets cold Instagram girl, everybody loved her. But now everyone going to have a problem with her. Like, granted, now she's done some problematic things. She isn't a perfect angel or queen. But everybody wants to come with her because she's popping now. And it's like people just cannot let others thrive and be successful. And it's like Tiffany Haddish has gone through a lot. She was sexually assaulted at 17 by a police officer. She was a victim of domestic violence in her marriage. Her mother got brain damage because she had a severe car accident when Tiffany was a young girl. Her mother's head went through the windshield. She had severe brain damage to the point that she couldn't function well, and she was just so angry and hatred, and she used to beat Tiffany all the time. Even Tiffany as an adult, she would punch her in the face, and Tiffany cries and she's like, why does my mama love me? But she knows it's the brain injury. Like, this woman has been through so much. Let her thrive. Let her have her moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop hating on people. Like, gosh, like, stop being so bitter. So, to wrap up the show, we're going to go back to trivia. And so we're going to do 2 more songs. And so we're going to do this one. So again, be sure to be listening. So, here we go. Don't he know Queen Bee got the ill deep throat? Let me show you what I'm all about. How I can make a Sprite kid disappear in my mouth. Another part. Been around the world, caught the same thing twice. And the line before that was, money ain't a thing, throw it out like rice. Who's the artist? Probably a giveaway in one of the words. And what's the song? Tweet me about it. And then we're going to do one last song. Tell me where we first kissed. Tell me where my spot is. Tell me if I liked it, loved it, or could it be that the stranger is me? Have I changed so drastically? Is it I want more for me and you remain the same? So again, be sure to tweet me. Tell me who's the artist and what's the song. And that wraps up today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to rate, like, write a review for the show on iTunes. Continue to spread the word. Continue listening. Thank you so much, y'all. Bye.